Darlings, the question isn't, did I survive a Japanese game show? It's, did I survive after a Japanese game show? You've tuned in to New Job Who Dis? Happy Friday, one and all, and welcome back to New Job Who Dis. I am your host for this lovely pre-Halloween Friday episode of New Job Who Dis. Halston Boddy at your service, HALSTONBODDY. And why are we here? Well, we are here to talk about the journey, the path, the road we have taken to get to where I am today as Halston Boddy. Yes, it's a long road, ladies and gentlemen. It is not a quick trip around the sun. It is years, nay, decades of hard living, hard learning, and trying to make it to the next job or the next path or the next career move. Where are my dreams taking me? I don't know, but here we are. We're here, and it's 2020. So buckle up, kids. We're right in the thick of it, and we have reached episode 30. Oh, I wish I had a celebration cake or something to make things exciting about this, but 30. We have hit dirty 30, ladies and gentlemen. To my 11 listeners out there, thank you for coming back. I appreciate your continual return to New Job Who Dis. If you are brand new, I welcome you. Thank you for tuning in. Go back. You have 29 episodes. That's now almost 29 hours. In fact, maybe a little more. 29 hours of history and learning and lessons and all the things that childhood dreams are made of and what you do. I mean, how do you get through? How do you make it to the next day? How do you survive in the world? And how, all the experience that just shaped me and, put me in bad places and put me in good places and joyous occasions of, how I felt being at the job and where my pipe dreams lead me down these roads. As we have spoken about, we will catch you up in a quick 5 minutes here. I have no job currently. What? Well, I thought we were here to talk about jobs. I know, right? Stay with me. I am currently trying to make it as an entertainer, stand-up comic, actor, comedian, character. I'm trying to make it in some realm. The main goal is comedian, stand-up, right? We're doing that, chasing those dreams. I have been doing all this acting, whether it's been cast or extra and background work. I'm just a person in a crowd, or I am cameraman number 2 in a movie. I've done all these things and I'm still doing them. I decided to take a leap from the corporate day job world to pursue these things because it's moving. The track is on the rails. The train is on the rails, I should say. And it seems like we're getting somewhere. There's traction. There is movement. There's interest. There's bookings. There are opportunities that are being laid in front of me. I have a fully recorded CD and DVD. I am chasing the dream, right? Hey, you can make it in this town, this Hollywood town, kid. However, the money is not there. The money is not pouring in. We are not rocking and rolling. And it gets to the point where I get on this game show of, I go to Japan. Oh yeah, no, I go to Japan to be on I Survived Japanese Game Show Season 2. Look it up. I could spend an entire hour telling you about this magical game show, reality show I got on, but this alters the entire course of history. And so I get out of this show. I did not survive a Japanese game show. Oh no. I got eliminated fairly early. I mean, it wasn't like quickly, but I safely made it through at least a third of the season and beat at least 4 people on that show. So, hey, mission accomplished. And I came away to give myself a perspective, moving into the next wave of what I'm doing in my life. I walk away from Japan, and not the show. We're not even just talking about the show. The show taught me all sorts of different lessons, but the lessons I absorbed the most were from Japan and the culture and what I saw around me and what my eyes could take in from whatever opportunity I had to look outside of where we were sheltered. And it made me realize that people in other countries don't really care about the same things that we care about in America. We just don't. I watched some Japanese television. I watched some Japanese news in the hotels. I was out in the city and learned some cultural lessons while I was out there. All sorts of random things. It just made me go, wow, America. What are we doing in here? What are we doing in the U.S. that Japan seems to get right? First thing was heated toilet seats. Heated toilet seats? I'm from Wisconsin, people. I would, to wake up in the morning and sit on a warm seat. Oh, God. I mean, it was just a life-altering experience. And not just because I was on a reality show. I lost, right? I didn't get a stipend afterwards. Like, hey, even though you didn't come away with $250,000 from a game show, here's $90,000 to live for the next couple of years. Thanks for playing, kid. Go back home. And they flew you home right away. Like, you lose, you stay the night in the hotel, they fly you out the next morning. There's no like, hey, let's hang out in Japan for a week. Like, nope. You're on ABC's dime, so you gotta go. And so after I do all of this, I'm like, well, I've gotta make something of this. And I try as a comic, as an actor. Hey, I was on a reality show. Hey, ABC casting of some level cast me. National network television looked at me and said, this guy, character, we need this guy. Who is this funny fat guy? We love him. Ha ha ha. So, hey, while you're there, why not take advantage of it? And I tried to just get into regular comedy. I wasn't trying to work gay comedy. I wasn't trying to work, bear comedy. I wasn't trying to do a specific brand of comedy. I was just into comedy. I want to make people laugh with jokes. Here's jokes, everybody. Not just for the gays. Not just for the gay bears. Not for dudes. Nothing sexy here. Let's just talk about stuff. I fell to earth so fast. It was painful. I remember writing like this 5-page why I'm leaving comedy diatribe on LiveJournal back in 2007. Going into 2008, it was just awful. It was awful. But I knew I didn't belong. I knew I didn't have an audience. I knew I didn't have a direct following. I didn't have a specific voice. I was just still trying it on, just still making whatever I can work. And it just didn't cut it. It really didn't cut it. I had funny stuff. I still have a full DVD and CD. I have made thousands of people laugh. They have laughed at my humor. However, I failed. I failed as a comic. And you're going to mix that in with coming back from losing on a reality show where I realistically just wanted to win $250,000. After taxes, I don't mind taking home $125,000. Hey, that's like a couple years' salary to me at that point. Maybe even more. I mean, 3 years' salary. I could live off $50,000 a year, $40,000 a year cash. Let's do it. Because I was still kind of living poor. I mean, I was, doing the acting struggle, and I wasn't bringing in, I didn't have benefits. There was nothing going on. It wasn't fun. And so I had to find work, get back feeling the depression of not winning and not being able to tell anybody. I had to find some quick and dirty work. It was struggle time. I mean, I went through a whole slew of jobs in over a couple years' time to make ends meet. One of the jobs I got was working for Out of the Closet. And this was, God, I have to go back to remember. This is actually before the Japanese game show, but it was kind of an in-betweener. Because it was one of those things where I had to figure out, like, I have to work while I'm in waiting. I have to figure out what I'm doing. I have to just make some sort of money while I'm figuring it out here in lovely Los Angeles, trying to make it as an actor. And so I got a job at this thrift store. Out of the Closet is a LGBTQ, community thrift store. Most or all of the money, I don't know the actual byline, I can't remember, goes to HIV treatment and prevention and testing and all sorts of good stuff. I believe it's owned under the blanket of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation in Los Angeles. It is littered all over the Southern California landscape. You can find Out of the Closet on it still exists, I believe. At the time, a friend of mine was working as a manager down at the Long Beach location. I'll work anywhere. I've worked retail. I can handle a thrift store. It's rummage, right? It's rummage. Organize it. Make it look cute. Make it look presentable. Sell it, right? You're not holding on to it. It's not precious. It's thrift. And fun fact about me, I love rummage sales. I love thrift. I love all sorts of, finds and random clothing and albums and going to find weird toys. And, thrifting is fun. I love thrifting. You never know what you're going to find in those stores. And sometimes you don't find anything. But other times you have the things that we have come across. I used to visit my friend all the time in Long Beach at this thrift store. It was a great environment, at least in my eyes. It was very casual. A lot of regular customers, just sort of again, thrift store environment. It's not high pressure retail. Yes, you are trying to make some sales. Yes, you've got to pay the rent and keep the lights on. But it's just presentation. I mean, realistically, thrift has upped its game in the last years. I mean, before it was just garbage and trash and boxes and nobody organized the racks, and it was just like shirts. Here they are. Take them. Nowadays, retail has absolutely influenced the thrift retail in the ways of presentation and look. I mean, if you're somewhat of a thrifter and you know what things are, when people are just donating random things and you can look at it and go, I feel like there's worth and value to that. I got to look that up and see how much we can actually make on that item. Versus scratched records and stinky clothing and t-shirts and stuff that's not wow, that's really worth a lot of money. You can really tell. And even with your t-shirts, even with your schlock value thrift, you can present it and make it look cute that people want to shop it. It doesn't always have to be dirty and unorganized and not in any size, or you just throw it on a rack and hope somebody grabs it. It's presentation and visual is key, right? So I was scrambling for work. This gentleman helped me out, say, hey, I think they have openings at this store. It's up in North Hollywood. You should definitely go apply. Great. This was another huge, I don't mean to get to the end of it, but this whole experience of working at a thrift store for, I think at the most 4 months, really, again, kept reminding me why corporations and big money and people in higher positions and power can suck. They can suck your energy. They cannot see the forest from beyond the trees. They just are out of touch. They don't, it's just such a, and we'll get to the example, but it started off fine, right? Working at this thrift store, it's not too far away from where I live. I mean, easy to get to work, plenty of parking in an okay area. It's not like it's some, oh boy, well, watch your car, you're going to get broken into. It's some trashy neighborhood. It was all right. I mean, it was a rundown area, but it wasn't like, oh man, this is terrible. It was like Laurel Canyon and Victory area, a little bit south of that, in a strip mall next to a Gold's Gym. I worked with a couple of women. One of them was the manager, and I'm trying to remember her name. The assistant manager, her name was Mervat. Or let me see if I can remember that right. No, the manager's name was Mervat, and I can't remember the assistant. The assistant was a trans woman, but I can't remember her name. Either way, she was really nice. Mervat, though, had a layer of persnickety mixed with my way or the highway kind of vibe to her. She apparently managed 2 stores. She managed some other store in the valley. I want to say it was like Tarzana or something. She worked at a couple stores. And she was just it's like the regional manager of those 3 stores. And then you had the local management, whatever, that's fine. And as somebody who is an aesthetic person and a cleanliness person and make your place look nice kind of place, thrifting was, being at a thrift store employee was just right up my alley, because it was like, yes, make this look good. Put these things on hangers. Organize that bric-a-brac shelf of knickknacks and vases and coffee mugs and glassware, and do the things that make it look cute and presentable, and they can improve sales. All seems great, right? But here's where the problems showed up immediately for me. 1, people in that thrift world did not like that. Not because of what it was. They did not go, oh God, cleanliness, neatness, organization, the worst. I was showing them up. I was making them look dumb and ineffective because I was a busybody and I was very active, and I kept myself busy all day long, making sure the place looked nice. And they hated it because I was winning. I was proving to them that this type of look to the place was good. There was a younger gay black gentleman I worked with as well. He was an attitude queen. Not with me. He just hated where he was working, and he wanted to be part of like the delivery teams. Out of the Closet had these delivery teams that just drove trucks and picked up furniture and dropped off deliveries to the stores. He wanted to be part of that. So when I first got there and he trained me, he wasn't giving me attitude. He was just full of attitude because he just didn't want to be working for Mervat, apparently. She was the worst. We'll get to her. So, yeah, it was all in earnest. And I was sharing my war stories with my friend at the Long Beach Out of the Closet. He managed that place. It was just weird. The hours weren't plentiful. It's not like I was working a 40-hour week. I was working, maybe 30 at the most. It was hot. It wasn't air conditioned. It was stinky. The clothes were stinky. People tried. Yeah, I'm going to go on a grocery list. I can come up with all the things that were just dumb about the job. They were like, People love to think they can just give you trash as their thrift. Meaning, like, here's a bag of clothing that hasn't been washed and is filled with cat hair. Like, you have to explain to people, hey, did you know that we don't have a washer and dryer here to make your fine clothing that you clearly don't care about anyway sellable? And the fact that it's coated in cat hair, I mean, it's not like, oh, a hair or two hairs. It was like, it looked like a sweater. Like, why is this white-haired cat shitting on everything you own? What? What is that? Yeah, so that was awful. You also had people, and no shame in their game, no shame in being homeless or destitute or transitory, whatever. Like, if you're in transit, I get it. But we had people, like, climbing in our dumpster, which, fair, go for it. I mean, get your life, right? But legally, if they, like, injured themselves or did, like, killed themselves in some way, couldn't get out of the dumpster, we were liable as a company. So I constantly had to chase people out of the dumpster and explain to them, it's not, listen, brother, I'm not here to mess up your game. I want you to eat or have something to, I don't know, what do you want? Clothing, I don't care. That's not the problem here. Problem is if you slip and fall and land on some glass or pick something up and slice your wrist open and bleed out, it's my fault. California legalities. I can't do it. So I had to do that. I had to deal with ineffective employees as well, who didn't care as much as I did. Oh, I cared. I cared about making sales. I cared about making that place look decent. I was tired of staring at filth and just not really, things just not looking cute enough to shop for. Who wants to shop in that? Not me. So immediately I was trouble. And it wasn't because I was being a jerk or I was, a bad employee or late or just effing off. I was straight up outshining them. I had retail management experience. You think I can't handle a little thrifting? Please. Cakewalk. They didn't like that. They just didn't. I was an overachiever. I guess maybe that was the perspective I needed. It was like, I'm working like high-end retail, corporation retail, and this is technically corporation retail, but it was thrift, and they didn't care as much as I did. It's really what it came down to. Fine. They decide to, as a company, transfer me around to see if I can survive at other stores in the district that Mervat worked under. They put me at some store, and I can't remember, it wasn't Woodland Hills. It was some other northern area store that was on the west side of LA in the Valley. And, I worked there for like one day maybe, because it wasn't the place I walked into was just a mess, and they were a mess, and they didn't have anything for me to do, and I was trying to do what I could. And it was just this weird conversation with the manager. And then they finally transferred me to the Tarzana out of the closet. And it got worse. It was weird. It was all these weird places to be. It was just, I don't know why they kept doing this to me. Because realistically, it was like I was fine working where I needed to work. Now, North Hollywood eventually closed, so that's why they had to move me somewhere if I wanted to stay working for the company. But I was not long for the out of the closet experience, and here's why. This is why corporations suck. Here it comes. Corporations suck. Sometimes they just don't get it. This is 2008. Okay, this is early, 2007, 2008 area. This is pre-cell phone and quick social media. Twitter's a baby. Facebook, a baby. People are still on Flickr. It's not quick share. Everybody needs to see this. It's getting all over the internet. Viral, look out. Right? But it is a tool. There is a level of hey, this is where I'm at. Check out this cool picture of this thing I'm doing at this place, right? So it was warming up to what we know of today in 2020, but it was just a baby as far as social media sharing. And companies were afraid of it. Out of the closet, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, completely scared of it. Why? Because I got written up for the stupidest thing ever. One day, I am down at the Long Beach Out of the Closet, where my friend works. You know, every time I went down there, every time I hung out with him, it was like dress up. Like, oh, we got this new sweater in. You should put it on. Oh, here's this wig we got. You should put it on. Ha, ha, ha. And thrift store, that's the fun of thrift stores. Put on that weird sweater. Try that new coat. What are those shoes about? Like, it's dress up time for me. I mean, go to a Ross Dress for Less or a Marshall's. I mean, of course I'm going to try random weird things on to see if they fit. But they're like, you know, that's just retail consignment. You're going to see some random costume pieces and wedding dresses and all sorts of older lady stuff come into, you know, a thrift store. And it's fun time, right? And his, also, to give you perspective, his Out of the Closet was very loose and casual. It was very just chill and everyone was having a good time. And we're all working and having a good time. It was good vibes. At the time, early on, he took a picture with his cell phone of me in his thrift store, his Out of the Closet thrift store, in a completely different district, in a completely different area of town, 45 minutes to an hour south, and posted it on the internet. It was my day off. He was like, wow, he's visiting. Hey, check out, we're visiting my thrift store. Ha! Look at these fun wigs or hats or whatever we were. I don't even remember what was in the picture other than me, right? Well, somehow, some way, someone in that corporation found the picture online. What? Okay. And decided for these reasons that they needed to try and write us up. Because it was somewhere or somehow, I think, in some, company policy about not sharing photos of inside the store online. So this dude, his name was, I want to say it was Roger. We'll go with it. This guy from corporate, right? Just one of these suit dudes, or at least dress shirt dudes, came to, I want to say his name was Roger. It's not Roger. I can't remember now. We'll just call him Roger. Roger from AIDS Healthcare Foundation decides to come to the stores to write up yours truly for being in a... Now, let me just make sure we're all on the same page, because I said this out loud to the guy in front of Mervat, my manager, because I refused to sign their write-up. They wanted to write me up because I was in the picture that was posted online of a picture of inside the store, and I was in the picture. Therefore, I was guilty of something, violating their something about that. And they did not want to hear. They did not want to hear that I was on my day off, didn't take the picture, nor did I post the picture or share the picture. I was literally just in the picture. I have never turned on a company so fast in one conversation when this jerk of a dude just was like, he could not see the stupidity and the waste of time this was providing everybody in the room. And I just argued and needled him to death. And I never signed it. Boy, they did not like that. They hated it. They hated me because I fought back and spoke eloquently enough to tell them that their policy was BS. I even brought up something that is absolutely now viable and now something people talk about, which is the power of social media. You guys should be grateful that we're taking pictures of inside your thrift store to somewhat advertise that this is fun and you should shop here because look at these fun things we're wearing. But instead, you're poo-pooing it like it's the devil and how dare you share this proprietary thrift we have that nobody must know about. I mean, oh my goodness. I was so enraged and just immediately overworking for that company. I was like, no, you all suck. You got it wrong and you're wasting everyone's time, including your own. Come on. You have a thrift store that looks and smells like a urinal, with cigarette butts in it. I mean, listen, it was terrible. And you're worried about me being in a picture online. That's what you're punishing me for? Whew, good luck out of the closet. Good luck with that one. It was not long that I was gone. It was not long that I had to leave that place. I had a ball seeing the thrift come in. I had an absolute grand old time cleaning and organizing the thrift to make it look cute and talking about cute things and helping people be creative with Halloween ideas and costuming ideas and all sorts of things they were looking for. I felt such enrichment from that experience of just being in the thrift world because, again, it's like a rummage sale. You're having fun, right? It's not meant to be serious retail. We're not trying to cut that margin, man. We're trying to get rid of stuff that people are giving to us for free and then donating it for charity money to help people. Yeah, why would I hate that job? Because corporations and people in power decide to crap down the throat of the people trying to do the right thing for your company. Oh, what's that? No, come on. That has never happened in the working world ever in the history of time and space. Come on, out of the closet. The worst. Yeah, no, out of the closet. It was fun while it lasted. It was a short trip. I had a Tarzana, the store in Tarzana was just not shopped enough. It wasn't a cute place to work. It had a different vibe to it. The people I worked with, I didn't really like. It all didn't work. It worked temporarily, but it all didn't seem to work. Eventually I had to leave. And it not only was because I didn't want to work there anymore, but because for some reason I developed some sort of weird abscess, cyst, sort of, I know, TMI, some sort of angry swelling of lymph nodes under my right armpit. And it was eventually pretty much diagnosed as because I was sweating and working in this thrift store filled with all sorts of allergens and chemicals and people and different things and all sorts of stuff. And I was constantly putting deodorant on to make sure I did not smell in my sweat. And I was blocking my pores with all this deodorant that I was constantly putting on to make sure I wasn't sweating through my shirts and making sure I was presentable on the floor because I was working hard. I wasn't just standing behind the counter looking at my phone and hoping somebody would bring something up to ring up, for them that day. I was hustling and cleaning and making sure it looked good and trying to get the place looking tip-top. And I eventually had to quit because of medical. I was in a hospital for 2.5 days. 1.5 days too long, but I was in a hospital for that. And I had to recover afterwards. I just wasn't ready to work. I had to take a quick break. I had to take a breather to just survive after being in a hospital. Listen, I didn't miss. Bye, AIDS Healthcare Foundation. It was fun working for you, I guess. Sorry, out of the closet. You're a mess and you didn't know what you were doing. And it's fine that you're being noble and you're raising all this money for AIDS and HIV prevention and all that. Great. All of it's great. But I will tell you this, the way you treat employees and the way it's set up, never, Would I work for that guy? Ah, God. And AIDS, the AHF, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, has its own problems and its own drama and its own problematic issues at the top and through the company. So I don't have to spoil that. That's in the news. That's been in the news for at least a decade. But working for that thrift store, you thought, for something that should be easy, for something that should be straightforward, easy, and a way to make things cute and quick buck and let's make some money for some charity, it was way too uptight. It was way too unorganized. Too many people playing power trips for no reason. It's a charity. What? Come on. Terrible. Terrible experience. Again, keep chipping away at these corporations. These corporations just keep punching me in the face, but for some reason, I keep getting up and wanting more. I don't know what's wrong with me. So what am I to do? Where am I? I don't have a job, don't have a place to go. I'm okay. Now what? Well, still doing some acting, still trying to get those extra gigs. Not as fruitful, not as good, not as exciting. Just not making it, right? Now, this is where I'm really starting to crumble. I'm already crumbling because I've given up my comedy career. I'm already crumbling because I've had to leave jobs with middle fingers in the middle. I'm out of here. This place sucks. I cannot handle this level of, asshattery. It's the worst. It keeps going though. It doesn't stop for me. That's the hard part. So when you think it's going to get better, it's going to get even worse. I get a job, I'm doing acting gigs and I'm trying to hustle. In fact, I picked up like a couple cleaning gigs for some friends, meaning, hey, I'll clean your house for $50, $100, $75. I'll just come over and clean your house. Trusted friends. Yeah. Oh man, I could use that. Oh man, I haven't had a house cleaner in a while. I trust you. I've had you, house sit for me. Come over and clean my house. Oh, cool. A little extra cash. Not too bad. Okay. But here's what I'm dealing with at this time before I get to my next job. And the next job we're going to talk about on Monday. Because this is another life changer. This is one that alters the course of my life. It's not even because the job itself didn't do it. It's what happened at the job, by the job, and after the job that completely destroyed my life again. Here's what's happening in my head. Because I feel like we're in episode 30. You need a perspective check. Here's the perspective of what's going on in my head right now. I'm trying to not work a day job. By the textbook, what people refer to when they say keep your day job, talk about your day job, I've just hit this wall where I don't want to work a 9 to 5 for the man. And I'm exhausted with this culture of corporate jerks and people that don't understand the vision. And it's just, you're just this rat's in the wheel and I hate it. I wanted to be free, man. And I was getting close. Oh, I got so close. Closer than I'd ever, a fat poor kid from Milwaukee who just was meant to be a working stiff and was real good at it and still was good at it and didn't lose my work ethic and didn't lose my passion for trying to make wherever I was going better in the workplace or whatever I was feeling. Here, on top of all this, after being on a reality show, in the midst of all this strife of trying to be free, working, right? Day to day, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Maybe you got to work weekends because you're in retail or you're in restaurants or whatever. You don't have your time, you don't have your freedom, but you're just, day in, day out. Mornings, time to go home. And just routine was just, it was hurting me, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what was the cause of it. I didn't know what was deeper than that. I didn't feel lazy. I just felt like this wasn't the life for me. And I had been proving it for up to that point 15 plus years, going on 20 years. I was already like, I'm not in the right place. I know how to do these things, but I don't feel good doing them. What am I doing? Layer on top of all this. I lose a reality show and nothing comes of it. Nothing. No, like, thank God you've been cast on something big and we can actually look at you now. We're interested because you were on TV and there's more. It was like, thanks for being on our show, kid. Have a great day. Smell you later, kid. Thanks. Wasn't that fun? Now, I am still grateful as all get out from being on that show. I mean, let's look at it from a real perspective. I was on a vacation to Japan for 3 weeks on ABC's dime. Kiss the sky, ladies and gentlemen. That is not something you get every day. So I was looking at myself in the mirror like, you've got something going here, kid. And it fell through my hands. I didn't feel like I could be funny anymore. And I was just realistically, bottom line, once again, wherever you heard on the streets or whatever you heard at the pool party, I just wanted to win a game show. I mean, come on. That was the ultimate. Ding, you won on a game show. Yeah, you did it. I had already tried 3 up to that point. Here was the big one. Oh. And it fell through. Nothing. Just nothing. I was miscast after that in my comedy land. I didn't have a voice anymore. I didn't find myself motivated to be funny. And here's what the kicker was. People around me, and not everybody, so it's not general blanket statement, people around me acted weird towards me. Oh, what do you mean by weird? Weird. That's such a grand word. Weird. What do you mean? They just acted goofy around you in some way? What I mean is that people did a couple things that really psychologically messed with me because I didn't know how to translate it or deal with it. One, people, to no fault of their own, felt like they knew me. At least at minimum, acted like they knew me. Now, I'm not saying they acted like they knew me, like they acted like they were my best friend and could tell me my birth date and my mother's maiden name and were there for me all the way since day one. They were banging, hey, brother, I'm so glad I know you. It was more like, I know of you. That seems fine until you're constantly being at least introduced or put in front of people who know who you are, but you have no idea or can't remember who they are. That's not a fun place to be. Let me tell you, it made me feel awkward. It's not because I felt like I had to be everybody's best friend, and it's not because I felt like I was taking a quiz and I had to know everybody, but it was this weird imbalance in my head where people were just approaching me at parties or places, and they were like, hey, that's the Japanese game shoot. Hey, Babaloo, you're that guy. We know you. And I took it with stride. I didn't shoo them away. I was like, oh, hey. But I was constantly faced with these moments of like, I don't know who this is. I have no idea who I'm talking to right now. But they sure act like they know me. They sure seem to know who I am in some capacity, but I couldn't, put a knife to my throat and tell me, you got 3 seconds to tell me who this person is or how you know him. I don't know. Slit my throat. I don't know. It was tough. I'm sorry, it was just tough for me psychologically to deal with that. And it wasn't like a privacy thing. It wasn't like, oh my God, you shouldn't know who I am. That wasn't the problem. It was this undue pressure that I had on me or put on myself to try to be nice to as many people and everybody that I could. But I just couldn't. And my brain didn't process all those faces and remember all those faces. But because I was deemed in some perspective as a celebrity, it was hard for me to be in that role because I didn't have anything to show for it. I lost the game show. I wasn't a comedian really much anymore, if anything. I was barely doing the acting. I was back working a day job of sorts that I hated and eventually was quitting. So all these people that were like, oh, this guy, he made it in some, I mean, realistic, again, I'm not knocking myself off my own pedestal of some sort. I did make it in some way. I made it more than anybody in my family did it. I mean, anybody I knew. I was like, I'm getting roles on TV. I'm doing these things. I'm getting acting gigs and being put in movies. And I mean, nothing you've ever seen, but it was, for me, it was like, wow, I'm getting somewhere. I'm being put on stages with people I feel sometimes I have no business being in the same room with. And I'm like, what? So I was making it. But the problem and the imbalance was I didn't feel like I had made it enough, or I was this hero or this celebrity or this star or whatever pedestal people around me were putting me on in their perspective, in their eyes, in their viewpoint. They weren't walking around going, that guy is the best person ever since sliced bread. He's amazing. Oh, he's the best thing. Oh my God. I can't wait to cheerlead him more. He's just so amazing. It's not like they were like simping for me and just being all sorts of, all over it. But it was just this level of like, hey, you're this guy and I know this guy. Hey guy, you're awesome. Oh my God. And what was happening internally is I felt like a loser. I felt like I had nothing for them to put me on a pedestal for. And that was part of my psychology too, is the fact that I was beating myself up and making people handing me, I couldn't take compliments to save my life. Oh God, you're amazing. You're so funny. You're so good. Oh God, I'm nothing. Please. Ugh. So that's what's going in my head, all this at the same time. Gee, I can't imagine why I didn't survive. I can't imagine why I didn't make it as a comedian or an actor or whatever at the time. I can't imagine, because my brain wasn't set straight for it. I had no experience with how to deal with this. It was just weird for me, and it's no fault of anybody who might have ever felt slighted by me, or if they felt like somehow I was bigger or better than them, or I forgot their name and they felt dissed in some way, or even people I just had to leave behind because I just was moving on to a different path in my life. No disrespect and nothing personal. My brain was just not ready to handle the aftermath of being on a reality show at the time. People thought I was a star. I literally remember, I'll end with this story. And this is the type of thing that just made me want to crawl out of my skin and leave the room faster and harder. It makes me just choke, like thinking about this, because I didn't ask for this. Be careful what you wish for, though, right? That's what we talk about. I'm at a gathering of bears, again, hanging out with these dudes, right? It was people that were out of town. They're having a gathering of food. We're eating at some ramen place in Burbank. And I went there to see a couple of people that I had not seen in a long time, and they were in from out of town. So I was like, listen, I'm not here for the bears. I'm here for these people. I don't want to be in this like bear museum of people. I just kind of wanted to go see these two friends and catch up with them the best I can. If it means a group dinner with 15 to 20 other dudes, fine. But yeah, here's what was happening. I go get my food. We're all getting our food. We're all sitting down because it's like a, order one at a time and go get it. And, they call your number and you go sit down with your food. There was this guy there who had known me from Bear conventions and events who I performed comedy at. And he could not stop saying my name and saying, I survived a Japanese game show. Babalu! Oh, he's here. Oh, God. Babalu! Oh, I survived a Japanese game show. ABC. Reality show. ABC. It was like he was this weird auction caller for me. Like town crier meets auction caller. And it's not that he was nonstop doing it. He just was doing it more like randomly for no reason. Just drawing attention to me for no reason other than to just be like, look, he's here, this guy. And I'm like, brother, I just wanted to yell. I literally wanted to get up on the table and just yell. I lost a glorified game show that had a seasoning of reality in it. And it's the last season of it anyway. Nobody cared. I wanted to beat myself up in front of everybody so bad. Or rip this guy a new one. Because I was like, what are you doing? Shut up about me. This is not about... Because I lost again. I was there just being this average guy. I just wanted to be this normal dude. None of this reality show moment for I Survived a Japanese Game Show, all the contracts and all the background checks and all the things that I went through, all the hoops I had to jump through to get to this show, none of that. I didn't sign a paper saying I want to be a celebrity. I wanted to use whatever glint of fame that I might have got from the show to move my comedy career forward. Maybe be a story to talk about on stage about how I was on this show. But it was too fresh. It was too new. And it never happened. But there was no... And the ironic thing is that when the show was on and when the show happened, at the end of the show, when I got kicked off, they took me to the hotel and there was all this an exit interview and they had all this stuff. And they took me to a psychologist or she wasn't a therapist. I think she was an actual psychiatrist. And she offered me a free session. Like, hey, do you want to talk about anything? Do you want to talk yourself off a ledge? Like, are you going to be okay that you got kicked off? And all this are you going to be okay post this show? And at the time, I kind of laughed. No, I laughed to myself. I didn't laugh to her. I just was like, I was like, okay, well, free therapy. Let's take a chance. Maybe I need some free therapy. I don't know. But at the time, I was like, I just lost a glorified game show. What do I mean? I'm not here to sob about it. It was an experience of a lifetime. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I can't believe I did it. Here we are. I'm still in Japan. 3 weeks. What? I have stories to tell the grandchildren. Why do I need therapy? Oh my God. What I didn't know then, I sure know now, because, oh boy, did I need a whole lot of therapy. And I didn't know it yet. But it's coming. Thank you. Hey, we have to move on. Have a wonderful Halloween, everybody. Tomorrow's the day. And I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I'm excited that you stuck it out. We are here every Monday and Friday, unless I take a day off. And, I thank you once again. We will talk on Monday about what happens after we get out of the closet, after we try to sludge through trying to understand my brain and what I'm going to do next. What am I got to survive. I didn't survive a Japanese game show, but I definitely have to survive living in Southern California and getting back on the horse. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for tuning in, subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing with your friends, giving it a thumbs up. Thank you, my 11 listeners. I know we're growing now. We're up to 11. We had 7. We added 4 somewhere along the way, and that's fine. Well, there's more room on the bus. Thank you again. Please subscribe, please like, please share, please comment. All the things you're supposed to do. Please tune in on Monday for our next adventure in Southern California in 2008. The job that destroys a piece of my life is coming. I look forward to talking to you about it. I will say this every week like I do. You should sing along with me if you know it by now. I mean, 30 episodes in. Pop the champagne. Let's sing along. Tell a friend. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell your brother. Tell your sister. Tell your neighbor. Tell everyone. This has been New Job. Who dis?